The number one thing you have to remember is you have to have a full kindness tank. You can't function in any form of kindness if your kindness tank is on empty. You each have your own unique way of decompressing and filling that kindness tank up. But whatever works for you, be intentional and just do it, because you're going to see a world of difference. Personal pain is as unique as a fingerprint. You never know what someone is going through. So always, always be kind.
Hello, beautiful souls. It is Sophia from Sacred You. Thank you so much for being here. Before we dive into today's podcast, I do have a small request from my heart. If our conversations ever resonate with you or have supported you on your journey, please subscribe to our channel or like this video. It helps us grow Sacred You, welcome more powerful voices into this space, and keep you connected to everything we share. Thank you for walking this path with us. Let us begin with today's conversation.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Pathways to Wellbeing podcast with Sacred You. I am your lovely host, Tawana Yvette, also known by my Native American name, Thunderbird Rising, and I have the honor, the privilege to speak with the beautiful, kind, sweet soul, Teresa Ramirez today. Teresa is known as the guru of kindness, and it emanates from her. From the moment she came onto the screen, you could see the love, the beauty, the gentle soul that she genuinely is. So, introducing the motivational speaker, the beautiful, the kind, Teresa Ramirez. Welcome.
Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. Oh my goodness. I am so happy to be here with you.
I am excited about our conversation today because boy, did it hit in the gut, but sometimes that's what needs to happen. Teresa, tell us more about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, I'm an empty nester. I have a dog and a cat. But I do have, it started on this kindness journey that has become a lifestyle. And someone asked me once, if you weren't getting paid, would you stop? And I said, no, I can't. It is now so ingrained in me, it's just not even possible. So that's what I do. I do have 2 grown sons. And when I'm not out and about and talking to other women, I do the dog and I are hitting the trails. We're always walking. I'm blessed with a park behind me, so we are out there as often as possible. And when I do get the chance, I also like to go kayaking.
Kayaking. What? That's not an easy sport. Not an easy sport.
Here I go. It is, because it's just really smaller rivers and a lake. It's not hard. It's just fun. It makes, for me, makes it fun.
That sounds so peaceful. So it fits your energy perfectly, honestly. It really does. Your radiance and your very calming, meditative presence. So that is wonderful. So tell me what it was like raising your sons.
I divorced when my kids were, 3 and 5. So I was a single parent during that time, and it was chaotic, and I was not in line with anything. And so the chaos was there. But I did the best I could with what I had at the time. And my son, I have 2 beautiful sons, but I think, as you and I talked about, because I had relationship issues, I unfortunately gave it back to them. But they're working through that as well. And now I am aligned and things are so much better. But there was a lot of things where people were kind to me And I remember as I'm going through my own kindness journey, I think back, there was somebody in the grocery store. I had this screaming kid in the cart, and I just kept going. No, you can't have whatever it was. And I just tunnel visioned, got through the checkout, and some guy tapped me on the shoulder and he said, "You're doing a good job." That made all the difference in the world to me in that moment, because I was thinking, I am the worst parent. Everybody's staring at me. And I was dying. But that's part of this kindness journey, that just a few words made all the difference in the world to me.
Yes.
And that's what we, especially as women, have got to step up that kindness notch and be more supportive of each other.
I agree 100%. I always share that I'm a collaborator. I don't compete, because that's competition is not kindness, but collaboration is.
Yes. And I always say there's no competition. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, my dear.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I always say there's no competition in the kingdom that the Creator has given us. There's no competition.
No.
We were each given our gifts to share in our unique way.
Exactly. That the flowers don't compete with the birds, the water doesn't compete with the sand. The natural is patterned after the spiritual. So
I know. I was remembering Wayne Dyer had a quote, something about the sun never said to the earth, "You owe me."
no.
And I always thought that was what a unique perspective, that there's no competition there, and they didn't know each other, and it's just a natural being.
Exactly. And Wayne Dyer is one of my favorite authors, by the way. My favorite quote in the world is his: "If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change." Yes. And he was a very kind man. He too had a very gentle soul. Share with me, so how do you operate with other women? How do you spread this beauty, this joy, this radiance that sits before me? Share with me how you do this.
One of the things, because moms especially are so busy, and I'm not adding anything to your plate. This is what I'm teaching is so simple. It's everyday things. But for women especially, the number one thing you have to remember is you have to have a full kindness tank. You can't function in any form of kindness if your kindness tank is on empty. We go into that self-care, or that, how do you find 15, 20 minutes just for you to fill that kindness tank up? And I know for me, it was praying in the morning and having that cup of mine. I'm a big tea drinker. So having that tea and sitting 15 to 20 minutes before everyone else in the house gets up.
Yes.
I know other women have said, "Oh, I do when everything goes to bed, I sit and do a hot bubble bath." I had one mom, and I thought this was genius. She was a full-time working mom. She would come home and she would do this to the kids, 15 minutes. She goes into her bedroom, shuts the door, takes the work persona off, puts the mom on, takes some deep breaths. So she's 15, 20 minutes. Then she comes out and she's ready. "Okay, kids, what do we have on the calendar?" And off they would go.
I love that.
Isn't that the best? It was the best, because no, you don't, most, especially you're like, "Okay, I got to get home. I got to get dinner.
Yes.
I got to run them.
Yes.
Two plates." And she said, "No, I'm going to get home and I'm going to reconnect and get back into mode, and then I'm ready." And it was amazing. Yeah,
that is brilliant.
Best idea. But
because
for you,
the car, the work, the deadlines, all of that is on you, and then you try to come in the house and they're going, "Mommy, I need fruit snacks," and then it's because it just seems like it piles up, versus her taking that time to say, "Let me pause," and taking a few minutes for herself, taking those calming breaths, and then being ready. That prevents her from taking the workday and spilling it onto the children. I think that is
Exactly.
absolutely brilliant.
But I do
Absolutely
want to
brilliant.
emphasize you each have your own unique way of decompressing and filling
Mhm.
that kindness tank up. So whatever, those are just a few ideas, but whatever works for you, be intentional and just do it because you're going to
Yes.
see a world of difference.
You do. You do. I agree with that. One of the things that I love about my new apartment is I have an enclosed lanai, and it faces the lake and the pool and the volleyball court. And there's trees all around, over draping over the buildings and things. And sitting out there with, I've stopped drinking coffee, but I drink tea that is much like coffee, and I'm infatuated with it. But taking my tea outside, I have gliders and rockers, and just gently gliding and rocking and putting the phone down and just being intentional, listening to the water, listening to the birds, watching the squirrels run across. It's so peaceful. And we as women do have to be intentional about our space because we carry heavy loads on I call it our backpack of life. And in our backpack of life is everything. It's the kids, it's the dog, it's the cat, it's the house, it's the food, it's the job, it's the all the things, the bills, everything. And we do have to be intentional. And I love that you do that. I love that you're teaching women to do this and teaching them that, hey, we can't pour from an empty cup. So I love that you're out here doing this. Tell me more. I am fascinated.
Yeah, it's like I said, I try to also enforce it. It's just start with everyday things. And you want to set your children up for those great days. So I said, okay, just take sticky notes because I got sticky notes everywhere. I have more sticky notes than Carter has pills. I got them everywhere, every size, every color. And so put on your children's bathroom mirror, their bedroom door, wherever you know they're going to see first thing when they get up. Say, you're awesome. You rock. I
Yes.
appreciate you. You make me smile. You're the bright spot of my day. You're smart. Any of those things. And with your partner as well, buy their coffee cup, a note that
Mm-hmm.
says, I appreciate you. Slip something
Mm-hmm.
in the backpack or briefcase. I appreciate you. You mean the world to me. Those kind of things. So start with your words. And my favorite is when your child has studied for the big science test, the big math test. They've stressed out all week and today's the day. Stick a note in their backpack that just says, you've got this, and
Yes.
boost their confidence level, help boost their confidence level, all those things. But it starts with your words, and how you're sending your kids out the door is how they're going to carry through the day. So
Yes.
that was
Love
another just, yeah, that's just, and it's simple. It's easy. It doesn't cost anything either, but you're setting your kids up to be
It's funny you
successful in the world.
mentioned that because I remember in 2004 when my family moved from BC to Atlanta, I used to make bacon biscuits, turkey bacon biscuits for
Ooh,
12 kids in the neighborhood. And in each brown bag, I would write a note every morning to them. And there are still a few of my daughter's friends who remember those notes and told me that those notes got them through some really hard days. And they used to be excited, like they would all be standing at the bus stop. What did you get? What did you get? And it was like you said, it was a thing of sticky notes on a bacon biscuit. It cost me a
and,
couple
and,
of
and,
dollars a week.
and they remember how you made them feel. And I
30
think
years
that's
later.
so important that people, your actions, they may not remember exactly what you said, but they're going to remember how you made them feel. So
Exactly.
that's a goal to carry with.
Yes. Yes, it is. I agree. I agree. What are some of the tips that you would give moms who are facing separation with their children?
Oh boy. Yeah, it's heart-wrenching. I will just
It
tell you
is.
that it is heart-wrenching. Don't do what I did. When my ex took my youngest to live with him, that was hard. He was in sophomore in high school, and he said, I choose to go live with dad. I heard, I'm choosing to leave you. And we have talked about this since he's now in his 30s. And he said, I'm sorry. He did apologize. He said, and his life went fine. His life went fine. I was the one that felt like my heart had been ripped out and stomped all over. So he was fine. He was happy. And as a mom, that's what you want. And I had
Right.
to come to terms. Yeah, I did a lot of praying and a lot of soul searching, but it was what it was. And he is fine and healthy, and he grew up just fine. In that moment, though, it's heart-wrenching. It's heart-wrenching. And my older son, who was living with me, said, as he's older, as adults, we talked about it, he said, it was incredibly difficult. You tried to hide it, but I could see your heart was shattered. And I didn't even know until he was older how it affected him. And that was, again, then I'm like, Mommy guilt. But yeah, you just have to, it's in the moment, it's very difficult, but you have to take that time for yourself to step back. If that means talking to someone, go talk to somebody. I'm a huge believer in that. Don't let it sit and fester. Talk it out. If it's through prayer, talking to Jesus, go ahead. Whatever's going to work. But the biggest mistake you can make, I think, my opinion, is to sit and let it fester. Because you're only hurting you.
Yes. The more you sit and allow it to fester, the deeper your wound becomes and the harder it becomes to heal. Because we do take it personally as moms when it's, I don't want to live with you. What? But I'm your mom. I've been here. I married you. I did this. I did that. What am I doing wrong? But it doesn't mean we're doing something wrong. It just means that they're their own people. And sometimes we forget that our children are their own individuals and try to make them little soldiers versus allowing expression, because we were silenced. Our generation was silenced. And we have this generation of kids now that is separating from parents, which is why I asked you about it, because in our age group, we were silenced, and some of us poured that on to our children, and it hurt them. And I'm very proud of this generation for standing up, for talking, for not being silenced, for banding together and supporting one another when reconciliation is not possible or in the cards for them in that moment. I'm not going to say possible, because everything is always possible. Right? So yes, I wanted to touch on that just a little bit in case some of our listeners are going through it.
Yeah, and I will say we have healed all our wounds as we've been able to talk, but my youngest son, who had gone to live with his dad, lives 2 hours away. And he said, can I come live with you? I'm struggling with my path in life. I want to try coming down to Cincinnati. So he lived here for 2 years, and we had some really heart-wrenching discussions during that time, but we were both open to it. And we were both in a much better place mentally to have these deep conversations. And then he ended up moving back 2 years later, but he found out while he was here, he found out some things about himself he didn't realize. So he was able to go back, and he's got a great job now, and he's got a great path. But I was open to letting him come back in. And when he left again, there was a little bit of me that said, oh, he's going again. But
yes,
it was very faint, very away. I just embraced that he was able to find his path and move forward. So that's where, when you had that, we had the separation at a young age, and we have never stopped speaking, but it was difficult through the years. And then to think that we years later are able to come back and live together and share some experiences and still continue to help them grow. That was the beauty part for me. But I think, had I not talked to someone, had I not had my prayer and my faith, that helped me be open to everything and put things in perspective, in proper perspective. Yeah, I just think, if I hadn't done that work, would we still be talking? Would he have been open to saying, would he have felt free to ask me, hey, can I come move in with you for a while?
My daughters, I shared with you, we were in separation for 2 years. And I got a text message one day. My sister had surgery and I was taking care of her, but I had gone home to record a podcast episode. And my daughters flew up to surprise her. But I have a little spicy granddaughter. And she kept going, you guys said Nana lives here. Where is she? Where's Nana? You said Nana. See, where's Nana? And so I will never forget recording this podcast, and I hear my daughter's ringtone and then my sister's. And I froze, was paralyzed with fear, because when you hear that, your first thought goes to, oh my God, something is majorly wrong. So I took a deep breath and I looked at it, and it said, we're here. We've surprised Auntie, and the grandkids want to see you. I have never driven anyone else's car as fast as I drove my sister's car back to her house that day. And what my children witnessed, and I even caught them. It was 2 of my daughters, my oldest and my middle, and then my 2 grandbabies. And I even caught them kind of giving each other glances. Who is this lady? Because when I walked in, the first thing I said, is it okay if I hug the children? May I hug you? Is it okay to take photos with the children? I won't post them. How are you? I'm perfect. How are you? I've missed you. And they were looking, they're trying to catch each other without, who is this woman? But I had gone through 2 years of grueling healing work, dealing with the deepest, darkest things that I had ever held. And now they see a different person. Now my middle child, the day after I move in, she drove from Atlanta to come see me and is coming next month to see me. She came and spent my 50th birthday with me, and I made her the biggest crab boil I possibly could. She goes, Mom, when you make crab boils, we can have lobster and king crab. When I make crab boils, they're shrimp and sausage. There's a difference. And just to have them call me, Mom, I'm just checking on you. How are you? And I do the same. But the one thing I never stopped doing, and I think it's important for other moms to hear this, I never stopped wishing them a happy birthday. I never stopped saying Merry Christmas, Happy Thanksgiving, Happy New Year, Happy Easter. I never stopped sending cash apps for those occasions. They didn't have to be big. It was the thought. I never stopped thinking of them. There's a whole wall that was in my apartment that was dedicated to their photos. There's 2 walls in my apartment now that's dedicated for their photos. And when you walk in my house, the first photo is my kids and my grandkids. So it's so important. In that moment, it was so important for me to show them kindness. Inside, my stomach was in knots. If I had tried to eat, I would have been in trouble. But I showed them kindness and respect. And that wasn't the mom they were accustomed to. And that's where we have to pivot as a generation and understand that, no, we do owe them that. We parents who think it's funny to post on TikTok or social media, period, where they wrap up the ceiling fan in a Christmas wrapping, and they wrap up the light switch, and they wrap up the thermostat. And these are provisions we're supposed to give them. Those aren't Christmas gifts, and those aren't kind acts. And so how do you feel about our generation in particular? Do you agree that a shift needs to be had?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I do see, at least with my circle of friends, they have made a lot of shifts. And that it's realizing that it's not, let me rephrase that, realizing where you want to be and taking the appropriate steps to get there. And whatever that looks like, whatever you can do. But I see more and more of our generation taking those true action steps because they want the better generation, the next generations to be better.
I healed so my grandchildren don't have to. And that's not, I healed for me. But when we're speaking generationally, I healed so that my grandbabies don't have to. They can grow up healthy, happy, beautiful beings of light that they are. Yes, I agree with you. What are some things that you do for you as acts of kindness? We've talked about the kayaking and things like that, but aside from that, what are some other things that you love to do as an act of kindness just for you?
Just for me, I love the hiking with the dog, spending time, that quiet time with the dog before I walk out. But I think one of the other thing I do thoroughly enjoy having lunch with my friends. It is something I try to have at least one set up a week. And it's just that female bonding. I don't care what people say about that, but it is a real thing. And it's something I thoroughly enjoy. And it keeps.
Have to agree with you.
Yeah. And another thing with our generation, because our kids might be grown, but now we have grandkids, and a lot of people are watching their grandkids, helping out. So they have their own things that they're doing. So we have to be more intentional about getting together because life is, even though we're not in the thick of the mom years, we're in a different phase of life that can be just as busy and just as crazy, that we have to make a point to spend time with each other.
I agree. Wholeheartedly, I agree. When I lived in DC, I was very isolated. The 4 years I spent in DC were all healing. And moving here, I have one of my best friends 2 exits away. I've got another acquaintance a few exits away. I have my aunt 2 hours away, my cousin 2 hours away. And I love it because, like, for example, my great friends, they are one of the most beautiful couples God has ever put before me. Their example of what a relationship should look like has had such a deep impact on me. And I talk about them all the time. I try not to say their names, but they bought a house last week. They closed on their house and they called me. I was really busy Saturday and I was just going to work through the night. And I had an event yesterday and they called me and they're like, "Hey, we want you to be the first one to sleep in the guest room. Why don't you come over?" And at first I was like, I've got this event. I got to be online at 9:45 tomorrow. And then I was like, you know what? No, I'm going. And I've realized that this shift in my life is about being more intentional and being more active and encircled around people like them, going and having meals with them. We went to the farmer's market. They took me to one market the weekend after I got here. They took me to another market 2 weeks ago. Things like that. It's amazing. And when she and I are together, and we separated for my healing journey, Like I was separated from everyone, but when she and I are together, we pick right back up where we left off.
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful experience, and her energy and her sunshine and the love that they've even changed my dog's life. Talk about blown away. If she hears Auntie C and Uncle J, I can't say their names, she's looking out the window, she's circling, she's ringing the bells on the door. And when we get to their house, she's heading straight for their dog and they are ready to run around together. And that's after she jumps up in Uncle Jay's lap and gives him all the hugs and kisses. So they've even changed her life. And it's beautiful when you have people who spread kindness around you. It really is.
I love it.
And I thank you for today's conversation about kindness and how important it is. And I'm definitely going to remember the kindness container. I like that. I like that. If you had to leave our viewers with one last thought, what would it be?
That personal pain is as unique as a fingerprint. You never know what someone is going through. So always be kind.
I love that. I love that. I agree 100%. I honor you. I thank you. That is today's Pathways to Wellbeing episode with Sacred You. I am your host, Tawana Yvette, closing out the session with Teresa Ramirez. We thank you for watching and contact her. Her links will be below. Talk to her. Her energy is amazing. I get to experience it. I hope you do too. Farewell.
As we wrap up today's episode of the Pathways to Wellbeing podcast, I would like to thank Teresa Ramirez for such a wonderful conversation. Teresa reminded us that personal pain is unique as a fingerprint. You never know what someone else is going through. So always, always be kind. And if you would like to explore Teresa's work further and dive into her wisdom on kindness, motherhood, and healing, be sure to connect with her directly. All the details are in the links below. At Sacred You, we are committed to creating a space where women from all over the world can support, uplift, and empower each other whilst being kind. Visit our website and check out all our upcoming workshops, events, and offerings. We are at www.sacredu, that is the letter U, .love. And as always, if this episode spoke to you, please subscribe to our podcast, share it with a friend, or leave us a review. As Teresa shared, kindness begins from within and radiates outward through small, intentional acts. Until next time, stay grounded, stay inspired, stay connected, and keep walking your pathway to well-being. From our heart to yours, thank you.